again for another lampwork tutorial. Today we're going to be making a snowman. This is just going to be like a desktop decoration. We're going to start off by getting a couple blow tubes ready. And that's what we're going to build our snowman off of. Hope you guys are having a great holiday season. Hopefully it's not too hectic for you. Hopefully you're not too cooped up somewhere and you're able to get out. So the first thing we're going to do is open up the end of this blow tube. So we're going to heat it up, just the tip of that, and we're going to blow a hole in it. Take a tungsten pick and open up that hole a bit so it stays open. Now we're going to get some North Star white and we're going to start to coil pot it onto this blow tube. So basically we're going to start by heating up this bottom inch or so of glass, white glass, and just kind of stick it on and roll that blow tube around. If you've ever worked with clay and made coil pots with clay, it's a very similar process. You're just using glass and heat. So just kind of keep heating. We don't actually want the coil pot itself to be in the flame, maybe just this slight edge, but mostly we're just heating that white rod, staying ahead of each ring with the heat. And this is going to be the bottom ball on our snowman. This coil pot technique, you can make a lot of different things using this technique. I really like working with North Star white with this, with these coil pots. Some colors, they put different metals into the glass to get these different colors. That's how you get colored glass. Some colors react better to being manipulated than others. Some kind of want to stay real stiff. Some go a little too soupy so that it's hard to keep their structure. But this white, I find it works out perfectly. So I'll do another video either later this week or next week. We're going to use the same process to make a hollow pendant. So you just keep the heat on there, keep coiling it up. When it gets to about the size you want, you can kind of start bringing it in at the top and closing it up. You want to make sure your coils are touching. I have a tiny hole there that I just patched. Now your coils don't have to be perfect. As you can see, that's not a perfect cylinder or anything. It depends on what you're making as to how perfect you're going to want to get those. But for this works out fine. So we're going to start at the top, take out that second stage flame so we have a bigger surface area of heat to work with. And we're just going to start melting that down, condensing it, so we can start blowing it out. You want to get the heat on the end of that real good. You want to heat it up down to where you connected it with the blow tube also. You want to keep a little heat on there so it doesn't crack at that seam. But for the most part, you want to keep it on the upper end of that gather. Start to blow it out a bit. Add some more heat and blow it out again. Now as I blow it out, I notice there's a little imperfection where I had to fill that hole on the coil pot. So I just condense it down again, blow it out again to make it right. See, it's slightly off shaped. You can't see the divot, but it's there. When you're working with glass, if you can notice something that's not right and just take a minute to correct it, it really helps with the final product. And knowing what to do and taking the time to do it right the first time saves a lot of time down the road. It's kind of like life in that respect. You can always fix your mistakes, but it's usually easier to learn from others and not make them to begin with. So now we're going to get this bottom snowball on our snowman nice and rounded out. Now we're going to blow a hole in it so we can have a place to attach the second ball. That tungsten pick's my best friend in this studio. Use that for everything. I kind of feel like a cyborg making these videos because I got my welding glasses on and the GoPro on my head. But it's fun. I'm glad you guys have been watching them. I appreciate it. So you want to take your time when you're opening up these holes. It's easy to get the glass too hot and try to stretch that hole too big, too fast, and then you kind of deform everything. So just take your time, work your way around. Use a graphite reamer to finish out that hole. If you haven't checked out my website lately, go ahead, www.filmandfire.com. We're always putting new stuff and rotating our inventory. If you're local, we can probably still get you items in time for Christmas. We're going to put this in the kiln, keep it warm, and we're going to go to our second blow tube and repeat the process. So we're going to start by heating the end of this and blowing it out so we get a hole, so we have a place to begin our coil pot. That hole closed up itself, so I got to blow it out again. Comment down below and let me know where you guys are all watching from. Let me know if you have any specific requests for videos. Alright, we've got our North Star white and we're heating it back up. And we're going to start our second coil pot. So different glass tends to want to boil at different temperatures. Some color glass boils very easy, others not so much. This white will boil, so you want to not get it too hot, but you need it hot enough to move, so there's always kind of a fine balance in there. Once you've worked with a specific color a few times, you kind of get the feel for what it wants to do. These coil pots are fun. Depending on what you're making, you can put different colors in the layers. Have some pretty interesting results. Now we're going to heat and condense this and blow it out for our second ball of our snowman. This snowman is only going to have 2 sections. You thought I was going to say 2 balls. Alright, so this is going to be the head. I'm going to grab our first section out of the kiln so I have something to reference for size. So I make sure I blow this out to the right size. And you'll see me putting that first ball in the flame a little bit here and there. You want to keep these things warm. You want to keep heating it, otherwise they're going to crack. If you put too much heat, they're going to start to deform. So it's always a fine balance. So we're heating this up now, and we're going to blow it out to the proper size. Blow out the bottom of this, and we're going to take our pick and make that hole preferably the same exact size that we made it on the first ball. You want to keep the heat just on the lip of that while you're doing this. If you get the heat into that bowl at all, it's going to start to deform. Get our first ball back out and check it out for a size comparison on the hole. Need to make it a little bigger to match. This is actually only the second one of these I've ever made, and the first one didn't come out. So we're hoping this comes out. I find the first time I try to make anything with glass, it really doesn't come out right. But usually by the second or third time, I figured it out. So these holes are about the same size now. We're going to heat up these lips evenly and hot seal these two together. Opening that a little bit more. Now I turn the oxygen down for a second. You see it was just a propane flame, and it put a lot of that black soot on the glass. That's not a big deal, it burns right off. But if you come into cold glass with too hot of a flame, you're going to crack it. So you got to work your way up. So we're heating these lips up, push them together. There we go. Now we're going to disconnect this blow tube on the head. And as I mentioned, this is my second attempt at this. And I have the top hat I already made from the first attempt that I was able to salvage. So we're going to use that and put it on this guy. Going to heat and flatten slightly the top of this so that hat has a nice flat place to sit. So now we're going to grab that top hat, heat up both sections, preferably with even heat, and hot seal them together. There we go. Now I noticed this top hat wasn't quite sealed onto the rim very good. See, it came right off. So we're just going to reheat that. Seal it on there with a good hot seal so we know it's secure and it's not going to come off. As I said, this is only the second attempt at the Snowman. I think it's important to show you guys the learning process though, because you're going to be redoing things a lot, and you're going to be fixing things a lot that aren't perfect. And you kind of go from when you start, you go from panicking when these things happen, you know, you think the whole thing's destroyed and you just give up and it's not ever going to work right, to finally realizing that, you know, you got to stay with it, stick with it, and you can fix a lot of this stuff. Having your own studio is a huge advantage. I'll definitely say that. Not having to worry about renting studio space from anybody, having to go down to the studio. Obviously, if that's what you have to do, that's what you have to do. But it's been a huge blessing to be able to have this on my property. So I had the freedom to go out and try things and fail and try again and figure it out. Definitely keeps you on your toes. Now you see the black spot at the bottom of that top button that I just put on? That is too cold of a seal, and it's actually going to pop off in a minute. It's not a big deal, just stick it back on. But cold seals and hot seals and keeping the glass warm is very important. So those 3 buttons on his stomach, I should be keeping those warm right now while I'm putting those eyes on, but I didn't keep it in the heat. And then when I do go back and I add heat to that section, there's stress there, so that top button just goes popping off. So this is a delicate part of this. See there, that top button. You want to heat up these dots that we use for the eyes and the buttons, and you want to push them in so they're flat, but you don't want to deform the bulb that we blew. So you're kind of blowing it out still slightly as you're pushing it in, trying to not deform it, but you want to push those pieces flat. Add that top button, and then we're going to add a carrot nose, and he is all set. Thank you guys for watching this. If you have questions or comments, you can comment below or email us, sales@filmandfire.com. Like I said, check out our website, www.filmandfire.com, all spelled out. Facebook, we're Film and Fire. Instagram, we're Film and Fire Art. Parlor, we're Film and Fire as well. Put that mouth on. And into the kiln to heat up. And then I'll detach that bottom blow tube and it's done. That is a gift for a friend. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. God bless, stay safe, Merry Christmas.